The stars flickered oddly that morning. At first, only a few amateur astronomers noticed the strange ripple moving across the sky. Within hours, every observatory on Earth was flooded with calls and messages. Something massive was forming around the entire solar system. In the United Nations Emergency Chamber, world leaders gathered in unprecedented numbers. The massive screen at the front of the room showed a growing web of purple energy, slowly encasing Earth's solar system like a massive bubble. No one spoke as the last gaps in the barrier sealed themselves. "We're getting a transmission," announced General Peters, his weathered face illuminated by the emergency lights. It's from the Galactic Council." The room fell silent as a figure appeared on the main screen. The alien looked almost human, except for its silvery skin and completely black eyes. Its voice came through in perfect English, though its mouth moved strangely. "People of Earth," the alien spoke, its tone dripping with condescension. "I am High Speaker Wilson of the Galactic Council. For decades, we have observed your civilization. Today, we have reached a unanimous decision regarding your species." The tension in the room grew thicker. Humanity had never had official contact with alien life before this moment. "Your species is deemed too violent, too unpredictable, and too dangerous to join galactic society," Wilson continued. "The barrier now surrounding your solar system is a quarantine measure. It will prevent all space travel beyond Mars and block all forms of faster-than-light communication. This is not a punishment, but a protective measure for the greater galactic community." Shouts of protest erupted in the chamber. A military officer jumped to his feet, his face red with anger. "We have 10,000 colonists on Mars. They depend on supply lines from Earth." The alien's expression remained unchanged. "Your Mars colony will serve as a lesson in humility. Perhaps struggle will teach you what peaceful observation could not." "How dare you?" The Russian president slammed his fist on the table. "You cannot imprison an entire species." "We already have," Wilson replied. "The barrier is powered by technology far beyond your comprehension. It will remain in place until your species proves it can exist without violence, without warfare, without the constant drive to dominate and destroy. We estimate this may take several centuries, if not millennia." The transmission ended abruptly, leaving the room in chaos. Emergency reports began flooding in from space agencies worldwide. The International Space Station reported the barrier was visible as a faint purple membrane stretching into infinity. Mars Colony 1 was sending desperate messages about their supply calculations. In the midst of the pandemonium, few noticed General Peters quietly leaving the chamber. He walked swiftly to a secure communications room and placed his palm on a hidden scanner. The wall slid open, revealing the separate facility. "Get me Project Mirror," he ordered the technician inside. "Priority Alpha." The screen lit up, showing a massive underground chamber. Rows of sleek, black ships lined the walls, ships that weren't supposed to exist. A woman in a military uniform appeared on screen. "Admiral Miller reporting, sir. I assume this is about our guests." The council finally showed their hand. Peters replied grimly. "They think they're putting us in a cage." Admiral Miller's lips curved into a slight smile. "Little do they know, we've been studying their cage for years. Should I wake up our sleeping giants?" "Not yet," Peters said, watching the feed from another screen showing the purple barrier. "Let them think they've won. Let them think we're trapped and helpless. The council just made the biggest mistake in their history." He paused, his expression hardening. "They didn't just imprison humanity. They threatened our children on Mars. That's not something we'll forget or forgive." As the barrier settled into place around the solar system, the Galactic Council congratulated themselves on containing the human problem. They didn't notice the small probes already scattered throughout their territory, watching and waiting. They didn't know about the human agents already living among them, gathering intelligence. And they certainly didn't know that their primitive quarantine subjects had already cracked the secrets of their precious barrier technology. The Council thought they were being merciful by not destroying Earth outright. Soon, they would learn just how costly that mercy would be. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Commander James Anderson stood before a massive wall of screens. Each one showed different alien technologies that humans had secretly reversed engineered over the past 20 years. He smiled as he watched the Council's barrier shimmer in the upper monitors. "They gave us exactly what we wanted," he said to the room full of engineers and scientists. "Now show me what we know about their precious barrier." Dr. Emma Richards, the lead scientist of Project Mirror, stepped forward. Her gray hair was tied back in a messy bun, and dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept since the barrier went up. "It's the same technology we extracted from their crashed scout ship in 2019. They haven't even upgraded it." She pulled up a complex diagram on the main screen. "The barrier works by creating a quantum field that prevents faster-than-light travel. But we found its weakness 5 years ago." The room filled with knowing smiles. When the alien scout ship had crashed in the Arizona desert, world governments had united in unprecedented secrecy. Instead of revealing the discovery, they created Project Mirror, a program dedicated to stealing and improving alien technology. "General Peters is on the line," a technician announced. The general's face appeared on the main screen. "The Council bought our act completely. Their observers report that Earth is in chaos, exactly as they expected." "Little do they know," Anderson replied, walking over to a massive window overlooking an underground hangar. Below, hundreds of sleek black ships sat in perfect rows. Each one was a perfect copy of alien technology, improved by human innovation. "How many ships are ready?" Peters asked. 200 stealth cruisers, all equipped with our enhanced FTL drives," Anderson reported. "The Mars Defense Fleet is also in position, hidden under the surface in bunkers we built years ago. Those colonists the Council thinks are helpless. They're our best military engineers and pilots." Dr. Richards interrupted, her excitement visible. "Commander, you need to see this." She pulled up new data streams. "The Council's barrier is actually making our job easier. Its energy signature masks our own testing completely. We can power up the entire fleet, and they'll think it's just feedback from their containment field." Anderson turned back to the screen. "General, remember when we detected their first observation posts near Jupiter? Everyone wanted to shoot them down. But you said, 'Wait and watch.'" Peters finished with a grim smile. "While they studied us, we studied them. While they thought we were barely reaching Mars, we were mapping their entire civilization." The room's lights dimmed as Dr. Richards activated a holographic display. It showed thousands of tiny dots spread across the galaxy, each one a hidden human probe or sleeper agent. For years, Earth had been secretly seeding the galaxy with observers, gathering intelligence on the Council and their technology. Their entire communications network relies on quantum channels, Dr. Richards explained. "Channels we can now hack. Their defense grids use AI systems far inferior to ours. Their ships still use the same shield frequencies we cracked years ago. And the best part," Anderson added, "they think we're primitive savages. Their arrogance will be their downfall." General Peters nodded slowly. "How long until we can breach the barrier?" "The next solar flare is in 3 weeks," Dr. Richards replied. "The barrier will be weakest then. Our ships can slip through the quantum fluctuations without being detected." Anderson walked back to the main screen, his expression hardening. "They thought they were putting us in a cage, General. But they just locked themselves in with their worst nightmare." "Proceed with Operation Ghost Storm," Peters ordered. "But remember, we do this right. We do this smart. The Council thinks humans are violent savages. Let's show them what humanity can really do when pushed too far." As the meeting ended, Anderson looked back at the fleet of ships below. Each one represented thousands of hours of human ingenuity, determination, and preparation. The Council had spent decades watching humanity, but they had missed the most important truth. Humans work best when backed into a corner. The next 3 weeks would change the galaxy forever. and the council wouldn't even see it coming until it was too late. The world watched in awe as the hidden fleet rose from beneath the earth. Hundreds of sleek black ships, each one larger than a nuclear aircraft carrier, emerged from secret bases around the globe. In New York, London, Beijing, and every major city, millions gathered to watch the vessels hover silently above them. Admiral Kate Miller stood on the bridge of the flagship Humanity's Dawn, watching the crowds below through the viewing screens. 20 years of secrets, she said quietly. Time to show the world what we've been building. The emergency broadcast began on every screen, radio, and device across the planet. General Peters appeared, his uniform crisp and his expression determined. "Citizens of Earth," he began, "today we reveal the truth. We are not helpless. We are not trapped. For 2 decades, your governments have worked together in absolute secrecy, preparing for this moment." The screens showed the massive underground facilities, the advanced laboratories, and the training centers where Earth's best pilots had learned to master alien technology. "The Galactic Council thinks they've caged us," Peters continued. "They expect us to beg for mercy. Instead, we're going to show them humanity's true power." In orbit above Mars, another fleet of ships emerged from hidden underground hangars. The helpless colonists transformed overnight into a fully equipped military force. Colonel Robert Stone, commander of Mars Defense, sent the confirmation signal to Earth. "Mars fleet is combat ready," he reported. "All 20 squadrons are armed and fully crewed." Back on Earth, Dr. Richards worked with her team in the command center, finalizing the attack plan. "The barrier's weakness is confirmed," she announced to the assembled leaders. "During the solar flare, its quantum field will fluctuate for exactly 47 minutes. That's our window." Admiral Miller studied the holographic battle plans. "How many ships can we send through?" "All of them," Dr. Richards replied with a confident smile. "We've modified the fleet's stealth systems to mask their quantum signatures. Once we're through, the Council won't be able to track us." In training facilities worldwide, crews ran final simulations. The ship's AI systems, far more advanced than anything the Council possessed, processed combat scenarios at incredible speeds. Human innovation had taken stolen alien technology and improved it beyond recognition. "What about our people already out there?" Anderson asked, pointing to the map of sleeper agents spread across Council space. Miller brought up another display. "They're in position. The moment we breach the barrier, they'll activate. Every major Council facility has human agents ready to sabotage their defenses." The preparation entered its final phase. Earth's governments announced the formation of the Emergency Earth Defense Coalition. Old rivalries were set aside. Humanity had a common enemy now. Dr. Richards called for attention as new data appeared on the main screen. "The Council is celebrating," she reported, showing intercepted communications. "They're congratulating themselves for containing the primitive humans. Their patrol ships aren't even watching the barrier anymore." "Perfect," Miller said, turning to address the command center. "In 3 days, when the solar flare hits, we'll show them what these primitives can do." Around the world, civilians did their part. Communications networks were hardened against alien interference. Emergency protocols were established. Every human on Earth and Mars understood what was at stake. In his private office, General Peters reviewed the final reports. The fleet was ready. The crews were prepared. 20 years of preparation would soon be put to the test. His computer chimed with a message from the Council's observation post. They were requesting another status report on Earth's deteriorating situation. Peters smiled as he sent them exactly what they wanted to hear. Stories of panic, resource shortages, and growing despair. Let them think humanity was breaking. Let them gloat about their superiority. In 3 days, the galaxy would learn a lesson about underestimating humans. The Council thought they were watching Earth's defeat. Instead, they were about to witness the greatest military operation in human history. As the sun set on the final day of preparation, Admiral Miller addressed her fleet. "Remember," she said, her voice carrying to every ship, "we're not just fighting for revenge. We're fighting to show the galaxy that humanity will never accept a cage, no matter how large or who built it." The countdown to Operation Ghost Storm had begun. The solar flare erupted from the sun like a massive dragon made of fire. Inside the command center, Dr. Richards watched the energy readings spike on her screens. "It's bigger than we predicted," she announced. "The barrier's quantum field is fluctuating perfectly." Admiral Miller's voice came through clear on all channels. "All ships, this is Dawn Command. Operation Ghost Storm begins now. Remember your training. Radio silence starts in 30 seconds. Across Earth and Mars, 250 ships powered up their engines. Their black hulls absorbed all light, making them nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Years of practice had prepared them for this moment. Barrier breach window opens in 5 minutes, Dr. Richards reported. The massive solar flare continued to wash over the Council's containment field, creating waves of purple energy. General Peters stood watching the main display. "Send the signal to our sleeper agents," he ordered. "Tell them. The storm begins." Across Council space, hundreds of hidden human agents received the coded message. They had lived among alien species for years, gathering intelligence and waiting for this day. Now, they quietly moved to their assigned positions. 2 minutes to breach, called out Dr. Richards. The fleet had formed up into attack formations, groups of 5 ships arranged in perfect arrowhead patterns. Their enhanced stealth systems were working perfectly, bending light and energy around their hulls. 1 minute, came the call. In every ship, crews sat at their stations in complete silence. The AI systems that humans had developed were running at full capacity, calculating the exact microsecond when each ship would slip through the weakened barrier. Breach window opening. Now. The fleet moved as one. Where Council ships would have blundered through with brute force, humanity's vessels slipped through like shadows between raindrops. The advanced AI systems found the exact gaps in the quantum field, guiding each ship through perfectly. On the Council's observation posts, the sensors showed nothing but the normal chaos of a solar flare. Their arrogance had made them lazy. They hadn't bothered to upgrade their detection systems in decades. "First wave clear," reported Miller from her flagship. "Second wave. Proceed." The Mars Defense Fleet followed, their ships emerging from hidden hangars across the red planet's surface. They threaded through the barrier's weaknesses like needles through cloth, completely undetected. In the command center, Dr. Richards allowed herself a small smile. The Council's sensors are still focused on their barrier. They have no idea we're already through. The fleet scattered according to plan, each group heading to their assigned targets. Some moved toward major trade routes, others toward key military installations. Every ship carried detailed maps of Council space, gathered over years of secret observation. "All ships have cleared the barrier," announced Miller. "Beginning Phase 2. Across Council space, the sleeper agents activated their hidden programs. Computer viruses that humans had specially designed began spreading through alien networks. Defense systems started showing ghost readings. Communication channels filled with static. "The Council's Central Command is reporting technical difficulties," reported an analyst. "They think it's interference from the solar flare." General Peters nodded grimly. "By the time they realize what's happening, it will be too late." The fleet continued to spread out, invisible and silent. Humanity's ships were faster and more advanced than anything the Council had. Human engineers hadn't just copied alien technology. They had improved it, pushed it to limits the Council had never imagined. In her flagship, Admiral Miller received confirmation signals from every squadron. 250 ships, now positioned perfectly throughout Council space. The aliens had imprisoned Earth in a cage of energy, never suspecting that they had given humanity exactly what it needed: time to prepare and a reason to fight. "All ships in position," she announced. "Prepare for Phase 3. The Council's mighty barrier still shimmered around Earth's solar system, as beautiful and powerful as ever. But it no longer mattered. In their arrogance, they had forgotten humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt, to learn, and to overcome. The real storm was about to begin, and the Council wouldn't see it coming until the lightning struck. Execute Phase 3. Admiral Miller's command echoed through the secure channels. All ships, weapons free. Like ghosts emerging from fog, Earth's black ships appeared simultaneously across Council space. They had picked their targets carefully over years of secret observation. Every major communication hub, defense station, and military port was about to learn why humans were considered dangerous. On the Council's capital world, the first sign of trouble came when their quantum communication network suddenly went dark. In the confusion, none of the alien leaders noticed the small changes their human infiltrators had made to their defense systems. Primary targets neutralized, reported Commander Anderson from his strike group near the Council's main military base. His ships had appeared directly above the alien fleet's staging area. Before the Council ships could even power up their engines, human EMPs had already disabled their systems. In the Earth Command Center, Dr. Richards watched the tactical display light up with successful strike reports. "The Council's entire defense grid is compromised," she announced. "Our AI systems have complete control of their networks." The human attack moved with surgical precision. Years of studying Council technology had taught them exactly where to strike. Their ships weren't just faster and more advanced. They were smarter, guided by AI systems that made Council computers look primitive. "Council forces are attempting to respond," reported a tactical officer. "Their ships are launching from secondary bases." Admiral Miller's voice remained calm. "Let them come. Show them what real combat technology looks like." The first battle between human and Council ships lasted less than 5 minutes. The Council vessels, confident in their superior technology, charged straight at the Earth ships. They never stood a chance. Human weapons cut through their outdated shields like paper. Human ships danced around their clumsy attacks with ease. "Council command is in chaos," reported one of the infiltrators. "They can't believe their weapons aren't working against our shields." Across Council space, similar scenes played out. The mighty alien federation that had looked down on humanity was learning a harsh lesson. While they had spent decades watching Earth, humans had been studying, improving, and preparing. In the Council's main chamber, High Speaker Wilson stared in horror at the reports flooding in. Every major military installation was under attack. Their communication networks were down. Their mighty fleets were being systematically disabled by ships that seemed to appear out of nowhere. "How?" he demanded. "They were contained. They were primitive." A junior Council member burst into the chamber. "Speaker, the humans. They're broadcasting something across all remaining channels." General Peters' face appeared on screens across Council space. His expression was stern but controlled. "Attention, Galactic Council. You chose to imprison humanity without warning or negotiation. You thought we were savage primitives who needed to be caged. Today, you learn how wrong you were." The broadcast showed images of Earth's fleet in action, human technology easily overwhelming Council defenses. "While you watched us with arrogance, we watched you with purpose. While you celebrated containing us, we prepared to show you humanity's true capabilities." In the command center, Dr. Richards reported the final statistics. 98% of Council military capabilities neutralized. Their entire communication network is under our control. No civilian casualties, minimal structural damage to non-military targets. Admiral Miller nodded with satisfaction. The plan had worked perfectly. Humanity had struck hard and fast, but with precision and control. They had proven themselves superior not just in technology and tactics, but in restraint. "Phase 3 complete," she announced. "Begin Phase 4. Across Council space, human ships took up holding positions around key government facilities. The infiltrators emerged from their cover, revealing themselves in critical positions throughout the Council's infrastructure. The message was clear. Humanity could have destroyed them completely, but chose not to. Instead, they had executed a nearly perfect military operation with minimal bloodshed. In the council chamber, High Speaker Wilson received the terms of surrender. As he read them, he finally understood. The humans hadn't just defeated them, they had outfought them, outplanned them, and outmaneuvered them at every step. The cage meant to contain humanity had only made them stronger. And now, the galaxy would never be the same. High Speaker Wilson stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Council, his silver skin now pale with shock. The great chamber, once a symbol of the Council's power, now felt small with human ships visible through its crystal dome. The humans, he began, his voice shaking, were never primitive. We made a terrible mistake. The chamber's screens activated, showing Admiral Miller and General Peters. Behind them stood Dr. Richards and Commander Anderson. Their expressions were firm but not triumphant. This wasn't about victory, it was about justice. For centuries, Miller began, the Council has played judge and jury to younger races. You've imprisoned some, exploited others, all while claiming to protect galactic peace. The screens change, showing evidence the human agents had gathered over the years. Secret Council facilities where dangerous species were contained. Hidden documents about manipulating developing civilizations. Proof of the Council's long history of interference and control. We weren't the first race you tried to cage, Peters continued, but we will be the last. Dr. Richards stepped forward, activating a holographic display that filled the chamber. It showed the true extent of human technological advancement. Ships more advanced than anything the Council had. AI systems that made their computers look ancient. Weapons that could have destroyed them, but were used with precision instead. While you watched our old rockets and space stations, she explained, we were reverse engineering every piece of technology we could find. Your arrogance made you sloppy. Your ships leaked data. Your probes crashed. Your own technology became your weakness. The younger Council races watched in amazement. Many had suffered under similar protective measures from the elder races. Now they saw hope in humanity's example. Commander Anderson highlighted specific military reports. Your barrier technology. We cracked it 5 years ago. Your quantum communications. We improved them. Your AI systems. We surpassed them. Every time you thought you were studying us, we were learning from you. Representative Thomas, from one of the younger Council races, stood up. My people were also judged too violent 3 decades ago. We lost our colonies. Our economy was crippled, all because we dared to defend ourselves from Council interference. More representatives stood, each sharing similar stories. The Council's elder races had maintained power through fear and manipulation, all while claiming to protect galactic civilization. This ends today, Miller announced. Earth does not seek to rule the galaxy. We don't want revenge. What we want is justice. The screens showed human ships disabling, but not destroying, the barrier systems that imprisoned other races. Young civilizations that had been contained suddenly found themselves free. Humanity remembers its history, Peters said. We remember the strong oppressing the weak. We remember the pain of being judged inferior. Never again. Wilson slumped in his seat as more evidence appeared, centuries of Council manipulation exposed. The elder race's carefully maintained image of benevolent guardians shattered completely. You had a choice, Miller continued. You could have approached Earth as equals. You could have offered friendship. Instead, you chose imprisonment. You chose to treat us as primitives who needed to be caged. Dr. Richards displayed the final data. Your barrier didn't contain us. It motivated us. It united us. While you celebrated your victory, we prepared to show the galaxy a better way. The younger Council members began moving away from their elder counterparts. Alliances were shifting. Power structures that had stood for centuries crumbled in hours. Earth offers a choice, Peters announced. Join us in building a true galactic community, one based on equality, not fear. one where advancement comes through cooperation, not control. The chamber erupted in discussion. The elder races sat in stunned silence, while the younger species voiced their support for Earth's proposal. Wilson finally understood the full depth of their mistake. They hadn't just failed to contain humanity. They had given them the perfect reason to unite, advance, and overthrow a corrupt system. The revolution they had feared. They had caused it themselves. 3 months after humanity's stunning revelation, the galaxy had changed forever. In the newly established Alliance Chamber on Earth, representatives from 100 worlds gathered to sign the Galactic Freedom Accord. Admiral Miller stood at the grand window, watching ships from dozens of species dock at the orbital station above. The sleek black vessels of Earth's fleet patrolled quietly among them, no longer hidden but still commanding respect. The last barrier system was dismantled this morning, Commander Anderson reported, joining her at the window. The Mars colony ships helped the Centauri people take down the field that had trapped them for 50 years. Inside the chamber, Dr. Richards presented the final technology sharing agreement. Under the new alliance, advanced technology would be available to all member species. The days of the Council hoarding knowledge were over. Earth's greatest victory wasn't military. General Peters addressed the assembly. It was proving that power doesn't have to corrupt, that advanced species can help others without controlling them. The former High Speaker Wilson sat in the audience, no longer in his ceremonial robes, but in simple civilian dress. The elder council races had faced tribunals for their actions, but humanity had surprised everyone again, choosing justice over revenge. The punishment for imprisonment, Miller had declared, shouldn't be more imprisonment. Instead, the former council leaders will help rebuild the civilizations they damage. The new alliance embraced principles that the old council had forgotten. Every species, no matter their level of development, had a voice. Technology was shared, not hoarded. Military power was used to protect, not control. The humans could have destroyed us, a young alien delegate whispered to his colleague. Instead, they showed us a better way. Dr. Richards activated the chamber's main display, showing the progress of the rehabilitation program. Former council worlds were helping terraform new colonies. Species that had been rivals for centuries now worked together on massive engineering projects. The barrier meant to contain Earth, Anderson commented, ended up freeing the galaxy instead. In orbit, the first graduating class of the Mixed Species Fleet Academy conducted their parade. Ships of all designs and origins flew in formation, their crews representing the new unity. Human AI systems had been modified to work with alien technology, creating vessels more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen before. We found 3 more containment fields last week, a junior officer reported to Miller. The Alliance fleet is ready to disable them whenever you give the order. Miller nodded, but her attention was on a group of children in the chamber's viewing area. Human kids played with young aliens, all of them watching the ship parade with wonder in their eyes. They would grow up in a galaxy where cooperation was normal, where species helped each other advance. The Council's greatest fear was that humanity would cause a revolution, Peters said, joining the conversation. They never imagined we'd cause one through peace. The chamber grew quiet as the final article of the Alliance Charter was brought forward. It prohibited any form of species-wide imprisonment or technological suppression. The document was signed not with fancy ceremonies, but with simple determination. In the Mars colony, now a thriving mixed-species trade hub, the original colonists celebrated. What had started as a desperate situation had become a symbol of human ingenuity and determination. Earth's vicious revenge, Dr. Richards mused, looking at the peaceful gathering, turned out to be showing the galaxy what mercy looks like. As the day ended, ships from 100 worlds lifted off from Earth, carrying representatives back to their home systems. The barrier that once imprisoned humanity had been transformed into something new, its energy recycled to power massive medical facilities and research centers. Admiral Miller made her final log entry for the day. The Council tried to put humanity in a cage. Instead, they gave us the perfect opportunity to set everyone free. Above Earth, the stars shone brighter now, no longer hidden behind a prison of purple energy. Humanity had proven itself not through destruction, but through leadership, not through conquest, but through cooperation. The galaxy would never need cages again.